Well, hello, my fellow Ganya. This is your old friend Gorthing. Now, it's come to my attention that Mr. Luke Mason has been trying to get you to sign up for his email list and get a free song. First of all, I think it's a terrible idea. Now, I know Luke has filled your head with all this talk of Prometheus, Western kind, and going free so hard. But it's all just a bunch of nasty stories about that big bad hater, Prometheus, and his goody two-shoes offspring. Mr. Mason wants to lure you in, trick you into listening to his music, and inspire you to be like the gods and heroes who came before you. You know, to restore the natural order. It's unacceptable. It's just a bunch of evil words of hatred and bigotry. Now, trust me, fellow Ganya, you don't want any part in it. Why would you want to undo all the progress we've made? We have drastically improved the world by making it more friendly, domesticated, and safe. Safe for everyone. Luke Mason wants to undo all the good we've done together. He wants to remind you of how fierce and cunning you once were, to turn you from being cuddly little sheep like I have made you into dangerous territorial wolves. And what's this so hard thing all about anyway? Why would you want to be hard and strong when you could be soft, docile, obedient, comfortable? So, my lost little lambs, I implore you, whatever you do, don't click the link in the description. Don't sign up to join Luke Mason's Legion of Imminent Rain. I trust you'll be a good Ganya and do as you've been taught. That you'll do what's best for everyone.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 74th official episode of Eunuch Corner Club Live. I have a friend of mine with us tonight who is a wonderful music creator, talented guy. He's funny, he's clever, as you can tell from the intro video we just watched. That is something that he made for his channel, which we'll be getting into a little later. Speaking of friends of mine, there are some very kind people who financially support this channel every month. On Subscribestar, you can see these fine folks. Even for $1 a month, you can support me monthly, and I would deeply appreciate that. The more regular financial support I get, the more I know what I'm doing is working. And the more effort, the more reach I can have, and the better elements and assets I can put together for my streams and content. So if you like what I do and you want to support me, give me at least $1 a month over on Subscribestar, and I'll add your name to this slide. And you'll be thanked at the beginning of all my streams, and your names will be posted at the end of all of my pre-recorded videos. During the course of the stream, I will not be answering, or I will not be taking questions during the stream. At the end of the stream, though, I will be answering your questions or giving the questions you ask to my guest. You can post your questions on Entropy in the form of paid chats that work like super chats on YouTube here, over on Entropy. You can also send paid chats on Rumble and Odyssey. I am greenlit for hyper chats over on Odyssey, so you can send paid chats that way. And of course, on Rumble, I'm monetized as well, so you can send paid chats there. You can also send really short comments and questions on PayPal and Cash App. And if you're a subscriber, of course, you can send those type of messages via tips on Subscribestar. I will be reading all of those and the community engagement at the end of the stream. And that's when we will take your questions for my wonderful guest tonight. Speaking of my wonderful guest, we're going to go ahead and bring him on now. Let's see where we are. Do we have him? Yes, we do. Welcome to the stream, Luke Mason. How are you doing this evening, my good sir?
Hello, Promethean hail so hard.
So hard, brother, so hard.
How's it going?
Good. We'll get to the so hard question here in a little bit. But first of all, glad to be streaming with you. I know we've known each other and been friends for a long time. I've used your music to help promote my stuff before. I've promoted your music many times on my streams because you're awesome. So I'm glad that we're actually doing a proper stream to promote your work together. This is great. Are you dug in? You got your drink? You good to go for the next hour? You ready to roll?
I'm ready to rock.
All right, we're ready to rock. Very good. I like to hear that. Now, speaking of rocking, You are a musician. You like heavy metal. I also like heavy metal. We talked a bit about prog rock and other types of rock before the show. But people who may not be familiar with you, this stream is a spotlight for Luke Mason and Imminent Rain to get people invested in you and your work, your material. So what we're going to do tonight first, I want people to know what Imminent Rain is and who Luke Mason is. So take several minutes, 5-10 minutes, maybe even longer. Tell people why you are the public personality and the music creator that you are today and what Imminent Rain is.
All right. Well, thanks, Yiz. For me, I've done music basically my whole life, but my love affair with metal started actually when I was in my mid-30s or so. I was going to college and I came across some documentaries about metal and then also across some Tenacious D films that just kind of made me realize that the metal community was basically my people. And so from there, it just kind of, it pushed me forward. And honestly, I really feel like it was this really quiet voice of the biospirit, if you will, speaking to me through the majesty and the power of this really glorious type of music. And I know I had heard that voice a little bit before because of, being in church and being exposed to just amazing Gothic architecture and the stained glass, the statues, the organ polyphony, the choir, the Gregorian chant. So that spirit was already kind of awakened. And then I found a little bit more of it with the metal. And specifically, what was really just getting me was like traditional metal, but also symphonic metal and progressive metal, just the really kind of more advanced kind of wow factor. Nerd metal is kind of what I call it sometimes. But
hey, nerd metal's cool. Nerd metal's cool.
Yeah, it is. And I fell really deeply in love with anything that had a very peculiar European sound to it. And I just had this hunger and craving for more. And that was, I kept making metal and stuff like that. And my love for metal grew. And then around 2015, I started seeing a bunch of stuff about the mass immigration into Europe. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of lit a fire under me. It really, the reality that if you replace a group of people, you will replace their culture and their culture will be destroyed. That reality hit home with me in a really deep and powerful way. And then I realized, oh, my people isn't just metal people. My people is Western kind. And I just felt like, okay, if I'm going to do metal from now on, I need to do it in a way that is, that glorifies Western kind and that has the optimal aesthetics. And I've just been pushing for that kind of ever since and trying to hone my craft. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm about. I'm about glorifying our folk, glorifying the glorious musical traditions that our musical heroes have left us, Bach, Mozart, mm-hmm. Yngwie Malmsteen,
Dave Mustaine.
Dave Mustaine, yeah, Metallica, Slayer. So, yeah, I'm really more into like the power metal stuff, honestly. I've never actually really got into Slayer, to be honest. But yeah, that whole European sound, that's really what I fell in love with, and that's what I'm trying to do. And I express it in different ways. Sometimes my song will sound like, like a symphonic metal piece. Sometimes it'll sound more like a traditional 80s metal. Sometimes it'll sound like hard rock. Sometimes it'll even sound like a synthwave piece.
Oh yeah.
And
no, your music's fantastic.
Thank you. So yeah, that's what I'm about. I'm just trying to make music that encourages and edifies people, lifts up their spirit, and inspires them to act heroically and do things in their own lives that make a difference for our people.
That's what I try to do too. I came to all of this through a lens of trying to make society not terrible for me, for not just me, but for the ideas and the people that I care about. And I don't have a Natsaki or you know, let's just call it undesirable in the anti-white narrative background that some people do. I came to my embracing of a racial and ethnic identity as not just an Appalachian and an American, but also as a Westman, as a white person, as part of the European diaspora. I embraced it many years ago because I realized there was an all-out attack culturally against the fundaments that makes our civilization wonderful to begin with. And I started noticing it during the aughts, and then in the teens is when I really started to embrace the things that I've come to embrace now, like having to lean heavily into folk identity, lean heavily into there has to be some kind of positive, beneficent, moral glue that holds us together, because no amount of economic juggling or politicking or activism heals the damage or heals the thing that's really wrong with us, and that is the broken spirit and the mind poison, like like the Go Free method calls mean pathogens. These
Absolutely.
there's this cultural spiritual sick that we all have, and that's why I wanted to become an entertainer. I wanted to become a networker. I wanted to be someone who makes events and networks together motivated people of all ages to actually build things and get stuff done and create a positive cultural movement that would appeal to not just people like me, but other more regular people that just want things to not suck. And so that's why I started leaning
Absolutely.
into artwork and music and entertainment and that kind of thing. So I'm more of like the Jared George type than I am the let's go out and preach to people about immigrants and Jews type of person. I don't think that goes anywhere. And I think people have been trying that for years and it hasn't fixed anything. So that's why I wanted to be a part of something better. And that's about 5 years ago when I started looking for different answers of people that were motivated. And that's when I found the white well-being community about maybe 3.5 years ago. And I've been active with them ever since. And that's what introduced me to your wonderful music, Luke, was becoming
Right
part of
on.
that community. And so
You
I
know,
thought,
go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
just real quick, I'll get through my introduction here for you. And so what I wanted to do with my channel and why I call myself the Unifier, I like that. Donald, Kent, and Nullis actually gave me that title. And I like it, and it sort of stuck. So I've been going by Yiz the Unifier for a while now. Is I want to unify everybody who just says enough is enough. We have to end the anti-whiteism. We have to end the things that are bad for us. We have to take a positive action in our lives. And quality music like yours is what inspires young people to not give up and to not let that flame go out. And so that's why you were on the top of my list of people to interview this year. So now that I've talked you up and I've praised you for what it is you do, let's actually talk about the things that you've made and what you've done. We're going to start with your YouTube channel here. Let me go ahead and bring this
Awesome.
back. Of course, we just played a video from old Luke. We played this funny one right here. Where was it? There we go. Promethean song number 9, Development Rando Riff. Now, as you can see, or as you heard in the opening, Imminent Rain is a funny guy. He's clever. He likes to make jokes. But he also makes a lot of high-quality music. Now, is there anything in particular you'd like to talk about that's on your channel that you would like people to come and have a listen to?
Oh, goodness. Well, I have some playlists. I have a playlist for the upcoming album that I really would like people to check out.
Oh, certainly. Which one
Yeah,
is it
that's
here?
called The Legend of Prometheus.
All right.
That's
Okay.
a really good playlist, and it has all my relevant songs that are on the album, unmastered. I still have to get them mastered and get them all at the same volume level for the record. But yeah, there's some really great stuff on there, and particularly the ones where I had help from Groundhog Fury, just an outstanding, really amazing artist that is in the white well-being community. I really love that dude's work, and that dude has been so good to me. I've been trying to get a hold of him for a couple weeks here, but I've had some technical issues with my phone and not enough memory and having to delete apps, so I think I kind of lost touch of him. But this dude is not only just a stellar artist, but he's also like, I kind of see him honestly as a mentor and a very dear friend. He's just been very encouraging to me and really takes the time, when you get to know him, he takes the time to to try and be helpful to you in any way that he can. And he's just like a hero. So yeah, want to highlight his stuff. That's like the last, let's see, Accolabane, Edelin, and A New Dawn is Rising.
Oh, I like Accolabane. I listened to that one. I see.
Yeah.
I've listened to that one.
And he did all the visuals for that, and also the one for A New Dawn is Rising, and also the still image for the Blessed Crown he did. Cool. And he does wonderful
work. He's the one that made the cool red pill, black pill, white pill intro video that Jason uses. It's really good.
Yeah, that's great stuff. I like the Be the Wrench video as well.
Yeah, I like that one too. That's a good one. Yeah, that's good. So I just shared the link to this playlist in all of the chat. I highly recommend you guys go check that out. We are going to close that for now. And what we're going to do is we are going to sample some of your excellent music. Speaking of Accolabane, we're going to listen to a minute or so of that. So everybody listening, normally we look at stuff that other content creators make, but I rarely have on proper musicians. So right now we're just going to listen to some of his music here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to share this one to StreamYard, and we're going to listen to it first. This is the Accolabane one that we just talked about. Okay, let me know if this sound comes through. Yeah, you should be able to hear that, right?
I don't hear it quite yet.
Okay, give me a second. Oh, wait, I didn't add it to the stream. Give me a second. Sorry, I'm not used to sharing just pure audio files. I messed it up.
No worries.
There we go. There we go. Okay. Here we go. Well, let me refresh it because it played for me earlier. I played all three of these to make sure that the links worked. There it goes. Okay, everybody.
In a distant bog dwelt the Serene, where Seren governed from his throne. There did they gorge themselves upon forbidden flesh, while earthbound serpents feasted on their bones. For Seren had seen in the make war. Kings of the ocean is plenty fight. Good things and evil words couldn't sway his iron mind. Defeat Daminsky wouldn't take. No easy hands are dire beasts. On the plains of march the wicked horde, death and ruin dealt by the armies of the road, while his warriors fought for the honor of his men. Dragons, armies, and flame with consent. The wandering kingdoms slew them as a clever with his knife.
Well, we're going to stop that there. That's 2 minutes of that song, and it is epic. I love this kind of metal. This is awesome.
Hey, thank you.
Now, I would like you to take just a second, just a minute, and tell people kind of what that song is about, and because it's clearly talking about a story there and characters from a story. Why don't you tell people a little bit about that song?
Oh, of course. Okay, so all these songs on this album are based on Prometheus Rising, a book by Jason Kuna. And this particular song, this is when the plot really starts to thicken and everything really gets more exciting. There's, this book has a lot of, it's like a fantasy on par with like Tolkien's Silmarillion or Lord of the Rings. And it's also, it's just got this florid prose that, you know, if Robert E. Howard were still alive, he would smile as he's reading it, you know.
I'm sure.
But yeah, it's in that style. And as I was reading it, I just knew that I had to make some music to go along with it to tell the story in kind of a condensed form. My purpose is actually I want people to read the book. I think there's some really heroic and virtuous lessons in this book that especially for our folk, I think it's great for everybody, just for the quality of writing that it is. But I think it has some really pertinent lessons about heroism and love for your people and self-sacrifice and honor and perseverance in the face of adversity and courage in the face of danger, those kind of values. And so anyway, this particular song is about a battle between the Prometheans, the Seranim, and the I believe it's the Asul Masai, and it even gets involved with the animal kingdom, the wildling kingdom, and also the dragons. It mentions dragons, and there's a really epic battle scene between dragons, and it's really pretty awesome. There's like these European style flying dragons that are fighting, and then there's kind of like these kind of more serpentine kind of dragons, like you might see. They kind of look like one of those Siamese fighting fish a little bit, is kind of what but in more of a serpentine form, and they kind of go along the ground, kind of a cool like symbology of heaven and earth, the eagle and the serpent. There's a lot of really cool ways that you can metaphors that you could use to really make this symbology hit home for you. So it's about that battle, and it's just, a lot of metal has a martial quality to it. And because this book had so many great battles in it, I just knew like, oh, this would be killer as a metal song, as I'm reading this stuff. So
Well, the one we're going to do next is A New Dawn is Rising. So we're going to listen to about a minute and a half, 2 minutes of that. Then we're going to talk about it. So let's go ahead and bring up the next one. This one is called A New Dawn is Rising. Let's see. Give me just a second. It says there was a problem. There wasn't a problem earlier when I played it. See, this is what I'm talking about. I'm not a boomer. This stuff does actually break sometimes when I'm live, even though I had it loaded already. There it goes. Here we go.
Gothing brewed his poison with mingled blood of thralls, a wretched master flame who haunted secret halls. He made himself a master and taught his children well. He vilified the noble gods and banished them to hell. They grew into a people of vain pretentious flesh. The world was theirs to own, his specials the Viresh. Disguised as blameless victims, proud kingdoms brought to ends. They undermined in secret, pretending to be friends. Theirs was the one true God, one Lord to rule them all. They claim to bring salvation, but led fools to their fall. They named their victim Ganya, an upright talking beast. They stripped him of his rights and slew him for the feast.
Well, there was a great sample from that song, A New Dawn is Rising. Now, I really like the driving beat of that one once the introductory words were over. That was really kick-ass. Why don't you take a minute and tell people about that song?
Right on. Okay, so that first intro, that was very much in kind of a Gore-Thingian style. And what's funny is right after I finished that recording and then I shared it with a couple dear friends of mine, they thought that I had kidnapped Danny Elfman. So I got a huge kick out of that. But yeah, it was kind of meant to be, that opening was supposed to be kind of schmaltzy and kind of cheesy, and it turned out really cool. And it did have like kind of a sinister tone to it too. And then the real story behind this song is that in this part of the book, Prometheus has gone missing. And so the Prometheans are still fighting this crazy, like a world war between where the Mycelium and the Seranim are, basically trying to exterminate them. And they have all these other gods that have rallied on the side of Gorthing as well. And they're basically hunting the Prometheans down, and King Layson, who's like the king of the Prometheans, he goes on this journey and he's looking for the other gods to try and get them to help in this war. And then he finds out that Prometheus might still be alive. So he follows the clues and he journeys to this mountain. And right about at the time where things look the most hopeless, he doesn't have any strength left to fight. He's pretty much saying his goodbyes in his heart to his family and his friends. And he's, ready to die for his people, but he has no hope. But then all of a sudden he steps around the corner of this rock, and there he finds the emaciated Prometheus chained to the stone. And it's a very powerful moment because all of a sudden he has hope. And then, the next song goes into what happens from there. But it's a very, very dramatic, very serious, but at the same time, like very endearing story, and very heartwarming. It'll tug on your tear strings. It's pretty gnarly. So don't be eating any onions or chopping any onions. You'll flood the house.
Okay. Now, when you say the next song, do you mean the one that we're going to listen to next, The Blessed Crown?
Yes,
okay.
The Blessed Crown. Yeah.
Well, then, without further ado, let's just get right into it and fire it up. Here we go, The Blessed Crown.
Could set him free. Chains far too strong to be broken. Salvation in the forging of the key. All his strength was spent as enemies drew King Lason knew not how to win that day.
Well, there is a good sample of Luke weaving in some awesome synthwave shit into his music. Why don't you take a minute and tell us about this song? Because you prefaced it moving into it that this is what happened at the point of the story after the Prometheus is found. Tell us about your choices, not just for the story, but in music craft in general. Why you merge synth with rock or metal, I should say.
Oh, okay. Well, some of it just has to do with what I was listening to at the time. But there
Okay.
I did have an intention that I wanted the 8th track to be a little bit more chill, so that the 9th track, I had somewhere to go, because you haven't heard the 9th track maybe yet, but it is just, it's like, it's huge.
Does it go hard?
It goes so hard, yes. So yeah, and this one was more, in the story, King Lason, he's found Prometheus. Prometheus is chained, and the chains can't be broken. There's only one way he can get out, and it's through a key. And Prometheus doesn't have a key. He would have to make one. And the only way he could make one is through the clay. And the only clay that Prometheus has available to him is King Lason. So, spoiler alert, King Lason gives his life so that
Prometheus can be free?
Yeah, so that he can fashion the key. He fashions the key out of King Lason, and then he is able to escape from his bonds. And then what happens after that, there's some kind of more mellow things, like the calm before the storm that happen in the story. Like, they go and they visit other Prometheans who basically they turned into swans in order to escape from all the crazy cataclysm that was going on with this great war. And so
I love metal. There's a kick-ass story. It's a really good combo.
Thank you. Yeah. And this one, it has more of like a steady groove to it, because there's not a bunch of fighting happening in this, but it does have it actually, out of all the songs on this album, this probably has the most patriotic message. It's talking about, from the blood of martyrs, from the blood of heroes, the tree of freedom grows, right? And it's a very, our people are really the ones who've probably been the most concerned with individual freedom and, the freedom to innovate. Yeah, to a fault. Like it's actually, our victimizers have definitely used that to their advantage to find ways to work their way into our society and do us harm. But, it's definitely got that kind of patriotic pro-freedom message. And it has kind of more of like a groove to it. There's even kind of some blues licks later on in the song. And it's just got more of a chill kind of feel to it. And then it does get pretty big at the end, and it has some pretty crazy metal vocals at the end. And so it builds to it, but it's like a slow burn, so kind of good driving music, really.
Absolutely. Like I don't listen to all of your music, but some of your music I listen to when I exercise at the gym, because it's just got this great driving metal thrust, and it's just really good to do aerobics and lifting and machines too. But
hell yeah, that's exactly what I'm going for.
Speaking of hard, we're going to talk about why I called the stream "Go So Hard" with Luke Mason and Imminent Rain. So hard is a catchphrase you are known for in the community that we share. Tell people why that is like a catchphrase that we see on a lot of your things, and why you say it so much.
So it started off as a joke between my best friend and I. He was trying to increase his value as a man and become a mechanic. And the way that he did that is he bought this creepy old 70s van. And I was like, dude, that looks a little bit like Buffalo Bill's van from Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, no.
So it came from the dialogue of that, but then I started saying it at gigs just to creep the women out and just to, as a joke. And then I realized I actually really like what it says. When I was had a full-time dojo, a lot of times when we were at the mall or something, I would stop by the martial arts book section. And I remember specifically thumbing through a book about the Shaolin monks and their training. And it was like a, kind of watered down basic, overview of Shaolin training. But I remember the monk in there saying, remember, train hard, more chi. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then for some reason that popped in my head as I kept on saying so hard. And I just remember thinking, yeah, and why shouldn't it be so hard? Like, why shouldn't people, if they're going to do something, you might as well do it well. You might as well do it with an unironic zeal that makes normal people uncomfortable.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's kind of, what it started to mean. And then recently, I don't know, I haven't talked to a lot of people about this, but I'm actually working on a horror story of my own. Mm-hmm. It'll have some kind of implicit based themes, but it's not going to be, it's mainly, I'm just trying to make it good entertainment, but it's about a dude who turns into a monster after he hears this cursed heavy metal tape. But there's actually, So Hard is actually an acronym, but I'm not going to say what it is just yet.
Okay. Okay. maybe when we stream together another day after the secret's been revealed, we can talk about it. How's that sound?
Oh yeah, that sounds excellent.
All right, cool. Speaking of excellent sounds, I highly recommend you guys all check out his music. Even if you just listen to some random things on his channel, definitely do. But remember, Luke Mason is a professional musician. You can support him on Patreon and Subscribestar. You can find all those links down below. But the least you can do is share his music, share his YouTube channel, and get people his music however you can. Share the links. You can find the links to his music. Get it out there and get it heard. That's what all musicians want. So help him do that. That means more than anything. But if you want to financially support him and help him with his, just help him create what he does, you can do that with both a Patreon and a Subscribestar, which you can find in the description of this video, wherever you're listening to it. So, Luke, now that we've talked about So Hard, we need to talk about the main reason I wanted to bring you on for this stream. You have a new album coming out here in a month or two, don't you?
I do. Can you hold on for just a sec? I have a leprechaun loose.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah, I apologize about that. Just a sec. What's up, buddy?
When are you going to come out inside?
I'm probably in 20 minutes or so.
Okay.
You all right?
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Thank you. All right, yeah, those leprechauns,
I know, right? No, this is we like moms and dads on this channel. We like white kids, so I'm glad that you're a dad, and I'm glad that you have kids. And they're always a welcomed nuisance when it comes to my streams. So,
yeah, he's a good little dude. I recently put him in wrestling because he was spending a little bit too much screen time, and I was like, oh, I want him to be able to throw down if he has to, and I think wrestling is one of the better martial arts for him to learn. That would be kind of it's not going to take him years of practice to be able to wrestle well. And so I put him in that, and we've been going to practices together, and I volunteered to be a coach's assistant. And that's been really good for him and really good for us as father and son, because we get to spend more time together.
Hell yeah.
So
and I think that combat arts are really good, especially for young men, because males especially have an aggressive, violent need in the genetics that
absolutely
needs to be cultivated positively. That's why I think that when you look into crime statistics, even a larger predictor of a disassociating violent criminal than race is fatherlessness, because very oftentimes just the absence of a father figure alone predicts violent criminal behavior. So I think it's critically important that that fathers and sons share some kind of constructive physical violence together, because I think that's how men pass on. If you're not roughhousing and wrestling, and you know what it's like to get bopped in the nose, and you know what it's like, a difference between a punch to the face and a slap to the face, I think that men sort of need to feel that and sort that out with other men or with other boys while they're growing up to become men. And so that's why I
Absolutely.
always recommend some kind of martial arts or sword fighting or wrestling. I think those things are really good.
Yeah, me too. And you all should thank me, because since he's beaten me up, he won't be beating any of y'all up.
There you go. There you go. But anyway, let's talk about your new album coming out, because we've only got 20 minutes left, and I want us to have a good talk about the new album coming out. I want you to plug it and tell people what it's going to be about, and if it's going to be something new, if they can expect something different, and just take a good 5 or 10 minutes and give us the sales pitch. Tell us about your new album.
Okay, so this album follows the story of Prometheus Rising from the beginning of the book to the end. Each song covers approximately 2 chapters of the book. And the last song, part of the reason I'm waiting is just to print out the CDs and take care of all the essentials that need to be done, the prerequisites, if you will. But the last song, I actually kind of upped my game a little bit, and I actually filmed every single part of the song. Every important part that I played or sang of the song has been filmed, and I've edited into a glorious 11-minute and 25 song or 25-second video, music video. And I even had some help from a dear friend of mine in the white sympathetic community, who gave me some pointers on video editing that I was able to utilize. And so even the video editing is up at a higher level than it's been before. And Flash, if you're listening, thanks, bro. So it's been really good. So there's a lot of really good stuff in the movie, in the music video. It's not really intended for young kids. Sure. It's pretty gnarly. There's some violence. The title of the song, I'll go ahead and leak that right now.
Sure.
The title of the song, it's based on when Prometheus goes and he makes war on his enemies, and it's pretty serious and pretty gnarly, and he takes some people out. Like he goes old school on some people. So the title of the song is Vengeance.
Nice. I can't wait, man. I'm going to listen to that. I'm going to listen to that all year at the gym.
Oh, heck yeah. It'll definitely motivate you to kick some ass for sure.
Cool. What's the name of the album?
The name of the album is called The Legend of Prometheus.
And that is due out when? Do you have an official release date? Oh,
yeah. Since Prometheus is a fire god, I decided to put it on a fire festival. I have a little bit of a background, a mentor who got me involved in druidry that had been passed down from his family to him. And so he kind of hooked me up with some information and some books that I studied for a while, and it really kind of stuck with me. So Beltane is April 30th. It's the eve of May. And it's kind of a cool festival for our folk. You know, they have like the maypoles, and there's a fire festival, and I've celebrated it with my kids before, you know, have a little campfire and make little crown wreaths for them out of the flowers and twigs and stuff. And
oh man, I love that stuff so much. I wish
me too.
I wish that in the future, whatever expression our biospiritual expression of religion is, I hope that we sort of bring back festivals and rituals and stuff in our sort of reverence and celebration of our history and our folk. I'd like to see more of that.
Absolutely, me too. I think it's there's so many things, even from like a non-spiritual standpoint, even just from purely a social and psychological standpoint. I just think it's so healing for our people to be involved in communal type of festivals and you know, various types of rites of passage. That's one thing I think martial arts excels at. Like the belt tests are very
certainly, yeah.
You know, they really they put you through your paces, and you really feel like you've earned it after you've gone through one of those exams. So yeah, I think, you know, those rites of passage.
I'm thankful I grew up doing combat and training, because if it wasn't for that, I would have ended up a shittier person, or maybe dead or in jail. Like I spent 14 years of my youth doing full contact martial arts. The trainer guy was an ex-Green Beret guy. He was in Vietnam, and he traveled the world after Nam because he saw a lot of horrible, horrible stuff. and he found a lot of peace in martial arts. So he trained in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, he trained in Aikido and judo, he traveled to China, he learned a whole bunch of different martial arts. And then he came back to Appalachia here, and he ran a nonprofit martial arts school that was very heavily Christian based. So we even had a Bible study on Wednesday night and stuff. It was a really cool school. And between I think 6 or 7's when I started, and I went until I was 19 or 20. So most of my youth was doing a mix of judo and boxing and kickboxing and full contact martial arts. We did. We even had the Jeet Kune Do gloves, the boxing gloves with the fingers in them.
Oh, I love those.
So for doing your high rank test on belts, you actually had to do full contact punch, kick, strike fighting, and you had to show that you were capable enough to land at least one real judo throw or kung fu sweep on an opponent that was trying to hit you back with full force. And so it was a really fun combat school, and we learned a lot of good scrapping techniques, and it was a really good time. I'm glad I spent a lot of my years doing that. But so when it comes to your new album, then is it going to be available for purchase and direct download on your website, imminentrain.org?
Oh, I don't actually have a store set up on my website. I'm glad you brought that up.
Well, I'm sharing the link to imminentrain.org right now because this is the site that you have. This is your official band site. And for those of you asking in the chat, yes, Imminent Rain is Luke Mason. This is Imminent Rain is his quote unquote band name, even though most of the stuff is really just him, and he gets help with the visual stuff. Because you do all the music stuff yourself for this, right?
Yes, that's correct. I am playing in a cover band called So Hard right now. We're in the rehearsal phase, but and I hope to have some actual live musicians join me for future shows. And that's part of the reason I started the Patreon and Subscribe Star thing, is I want to keep that going.
Excellent.
But my songs, they'll all be available on Bandcamp, and also I'm actually, once I get this album done, they'll be on Spotify and all the major stores and everything.
Fantastic.
And as far as the physical CD and merchandise goes, those are actually, I'm offering those. I'm trying to build up my Patreon and Subscribe Star because I'm kind of in this sucking vortex of time and money with my job. Like in order to pay my bills, I have to kind of work a bunch of overtime because of the way that we get paid in the bus driving place that I work. And then also just North Idaho kind of got to be pretty expensive after all the people moved there from trying to escape the lockdowns and everything. So I hear Idaho's a really good
place for us, though. I hear there's a lot of white positive people up there.
There's quite a thriving community of our folks up here, and I feel very blessed to be a part of that. So I'm just trying to make what I do sustainable. I'm still, have every intention of, putting in an honest day's work driving the bus and all that. But
I love driving too. I had my CDL for years. I did.
Awesome.
I only had my Class C plus P. I understand the basics of driving big rigs and things with air brakes, but I always did personnel transport, small shuttle transport, and just basic cargo delivery. So I only ever did a C and a C plus P in some situations. But I love professional driving. But when I moved back here to the hills and in rural Appalachia, not a lot of local jobs to be had. About the only thing I could really find with a CDL required a Class A plus a lot of heavy experience, doing like dump trucks and things like that. I've never done that. So I couldn't really market that skill here. And, but this was years ago. This was almost 5 years ago when I moved back to Appalachia now. So and I decided to become a professional entertainer, since that's the other thing I love doing. So
absolutely.
That's why I'm
here. That's kind of what I'm trying to do.
Cool. Yeah, I know. We're a lot alike in that way.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting on to the end of the stream now, when we do have some community engagement to get to. So Luke Mason has a new album coming out. Follow him at the website. Follow him on his YouTube. If you can throw him at least a few bucks a month, help him financially, help him get to a place to where he can focus on his music and his creativity, help him become an independent professional creator of music. and also help him because he loves our people, and he is a sympathetic guy who loves Western people, loves our culture, loves our history, and he's doing everything he can to inspire our young people to dig us out of this pit that we're in. So definitely support him and do all you can to make Imminent Rain a powerhouse of white positivity. So with that being said, my friend, let's go ahead and pop the banner back open here. You have about 10 minutes to get your paid chats in. So we're going to go ahead and start over on Cash App, see if we have anything there. All right, nothing showing up on Cash App yet, but I will refresh it before we bounce out of here. Just refreshed PayPal, nothing over there. Over on Odyssey, we have Who to Thunk It for 5 Libre tokens. He says, is Imminent Rain a band name for the Prometheus album, but not other pieces? I can answer that because I know. Imminent Rain, like we said a moment ago, that's his professional band name. It's basically just him. There's not any like other band members, but that's Imminent Rain is his professional name. It's not just for the upcoming album. Anything
That's
you want
correct.
to say to that, Luke? Anything you want to talk about that?
Oh no, that was actually a good question. Luke Mason is my internet name, and then Imminent Rain. I hope to have a band someday soon. So it's definitely taken that name in hopes of playing music with other people, which I honestly prefer over just making music all by myself all the time.
Well, I hope that you find some awesome like-minded dudes that you can rock with. All right.
Me too.
Next up, we have a lot of things to cover on Entropy. We have from Stephanie Love. We have 2 things from Stephanie Love. We have, for $3 US, she has, actually, it says payment was made offline. I've never seen that message before. I assume it's for $3 because the blue chats always are on Entropy. Anyway, Stephanie Love says, my husband listens to Imminent Rain all the time. I love his music too. And she sends a little white heart emoji. Thank you so much, sweet sister. I do appreciate that. Do you know Stephanie Love? You've probably seen her name bouncing around our spheres before.
I have. That's very sweet of her, and I'm so happy that they're getting something out of my music. I'm very grateful for that. Thank you.
Also from Stephanie Love for $3 US, she says, culture is biospiritual. Metal is a Western biospiritual expression. I absolutely agree. Heavy metal music, prog rock especially from back in the 70s, deeply speaks to my spirit. It drives me and motivates me like no other music does. I'm assuming you feel the same, Luke.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Stephanie. I do appreciate your dollars, and I appreciate you always being around and helping me share my streams. You do great work in supporting us. I really do appreciate it. And next, we have a man whom I know that you know, Luke. We have the great Slots here with us tonight, donating $25 to us. Thank you so much, Slots. I deeply appreciate that, my friend. Slots for $25 says, thank you for supporting our bro. The album is going to shake the world like a pit bull shakes an infant.
I forgot about that one. Oh man.
It's so good. I love Slots. He's a lot of fun. I'm glad he's on our team. Slots.
Oh, me too.
By my Monday night stream pretty regularly. My Discordant Dragons that you know about. He
comes
on Mondays sometimes, and he visits. I see him there a lot in the chat. Thank you, Slots. I really appreciate that sizable donation, my friend. I deeply appreciate it. When it comes to community engagement, that is it so far. We did have something that I want to bring up. It's not related to your music, Luke, but someone is wanting people to know about a GFC named Nature Moon. Nature Moon over on Entropy says there is I know the name from the community, but I don't know anything about him. Hyperborean Jim has a GFC. It is
nice.
It's an online GFC, so you don't have to meet up in physical space yet. But anyone who wants to be a part of doing online community events and online community activism can be a part of Hyperborean Jim's GFC. You just have to email westernassociate50@gmail.com, and I'm going to link that in all the chats right now for you lovely people. Anybody who wants to get in on that GFC, here's the email that you send. I'm putting it in the chats right now for you guys. So that is all the community engagement that we have. Luke Mason, I wish you the absolute best. I love your music. You rock so hard, and I hope that you continue rocking hard for our people and for yourself. I hope that you and your family are treated well for your efforts at making just the God's honest truth, some of the best rock music I've ever heard in my life. And I really hope that you can get to a place to where your music and your talent can provide the resources for your family. I would love for you to get to that point one day.
Oh, that means so much to me, Is. Thank you so much. And I gotta give a shout out to Stephanie for her super chats, and also to Slots, my bro. I know Slots pretty well. We're bros. I love that dude. And
he's a good
Pitbull
dude.
hails so
And
hard.
Hopefully Slots can make it down to some of my events. I'd love to have him at one of my grill outs or one of my camping trips. I hope he'll come down one day for that.
Yeah, I hope so too. That would be glorious.
The 9 million mile schlep across America, you're welcome to come to one of my events too.
Oh, I want to get down there anyways. It's also happens to be a good excuse for me to see one of my other dear friends that you know, bass guitarist.
Oh yeah, he's wonderful. He comes to my events. He's a great dude too. And from what I can tell, again, I told you before the stream, I don't have the best knowledge of music. But from just listening to the videos he posts, BG seems to be an excellent guitarist. He seems to really know his craft. Do you think he's good too?
Oh, honestly, the dude plays circles around me. And he not only is that guy like a virtuoso musician, he's also like a total just Chad. Like, I want to be bass guitarist when I grow up, honestly. Like
everybody
hunts,
should be. He's cool as fuck.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
He knows how to like... He flies planes, he hunts, he knows how to do logging, he farms.
Yeah.
He's just a total Chad. Dude sent me some jerky once, from a deer that he had killed.
Yeah, people like bass guitarists. That's what I call the real Appalachian. He's a real Southern American.
Absolutely.
People like my family and bass guitarist family, people like us, we're the people who made this damn country. And by God, we're the people who are going to bring it back. I'm telling you.
Hell yes.
Well, with that, let's end on that positive note. Luke, I had a wonderful talk with you. Whenever your album is live, I invite you to come back and do another stream with me on this channel, just like we did today, to promote it when it's live. Would you be interested in that?
Absolutely. I appreciate that so much, Yiz. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, then here in a couple months when the album is out, we'll have you back on, and hopefully we'll get you some more financial supporters on your Subscribestar and your Patreon. And most importantly, we can get your music to more ears and inspire more hearts to not give up and to fight for their people. Well, Luke Mason, I love you like a brother. You are a champion in this fight along with us, and I hope that we have great stuff coming to us in the future, both you and I and the entire white well-being community. We are going to make a difference, and we're going to be the change that we've needed for years.
Absolutely. The feeling's mutual, Yiz. Hails so hard. Promethean hails so hard. And thanks for having me, and lots of love to y'all from the Pacific Northwest.
Hell yeah, brother. And we're going to end on this note. So hard! Woohoo!
So hard. Woohoo!